Welcome back to Product Data Weekly. This is a short practical podcast about the realities of product data operations. Each week we explore the challenges that sit behind growing catalogues, evolving systems and ever-increasing data demands. No theory, no vendor hype, just grounded conversations about what it really takes to manage a product data at scale. If you're involved in e-commerce, product information, supplier onboarding, ERP, PIM, marketplace feeds or anything connected to product data, this is the place for you. Welcome back.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Good to be back.
So we wanted to talk this week about greenwashing claims and how product data is affected by this, or actually how your product data maybe could get you into a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And the reason why we wanted to talk about it now is because there is actually a deadline looming for a lot of businesses. It's a bit like the GDPR, isn't it? Like everyone's like, oh, it'll be fine. And then 2 weeks before they're like, ah. And so we've been talking to quite a few businesses who this is something that they're trying to figure out at the moment. So what you may have heard of it was called the Green Claims Directive, which was an EU directive that I think they put a deadline on it last year, but then they ended up pausing that. So it was middle of last year. So we got a flurry of people coming in last year trying to sort it out. And then everybody kind of didn't worry about it because it was paused. However, there's now a separate law, which is the Empowering Consumers for the Green Transition Directive. It's a good old long EU, says what it does on the tin. And so this has actually already been passed and it applies from the 27th of September. So what this basically is about is that you can't just make generic environmental claims. So like green, eco-friendly, sustainable, without having the proof to substantiate that claim. So, and they're talking like big fines of up to 4% of your annual turnover where breaches occur. So it's quite a big topic that not a lot of people tend to be talking about. So, and I think these claims have probably historically sat in the marketing department because it's a content, it's a, that type of thing. Whereas actually it's a data problem, because if you've got to substantiate that claim, then you need to, have the evidence and be able to go and retrieve that when asked.
I reckon a lot of companies don't have the evidence. What do you think?
Well, we know that a lot of companies don't have the evidence. Yeah. And so I think we just wanted to maybe talk about today how we unpacked that for a customer, and just some ways that people, or what people should be looking at in their catalogues to help them with this. Because what is it, September? So they've got 3 months? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, don't be that that company that's made an example of,
Yeah.
I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because it's like I think most businesses don't even know if they've probably made these claims, because it's like, how often do you go into your back catalogue of products and review every description? The reality is like these claims are probably scattered across thousands of descriptions in a lot of businesses, written by a lot of different people over the years. Probably absolutely no record of whether they came from. And by the way, this doesn't just go for like words in descriptions, it also goes for attributes. It goes for badges on product pages, not a badger, but a badge, badge on product page. It's like, there's a lot of instances potentially of these things popping up. The first job really is an inventory of like all your product page content, right, where it's stored. And unfortunately, a lot of the time it's not all in one place, right? It's off. I mean, the most logical starting point is your e-commerce site, because that's probably where all the content is being rendered to the customers and stuff. You could also be sending greenwashing claim. You could be sending like green claims downstream to like marketplaces or in channel feeds. You could even be making these claims in store inadvertently on like shelf labels and stuff. So you got to do an inventory, and that's quite a big process of like reverse engineering where customers are seeing these pieces of content. So you can do that inventory. And then I think like There's two ways you can then solve it, right? And the first way is the way that our customer did it, where basically they just removed all possible greenwashing mentions.
Yeah.
They made a dictionary list of words of basic claims that could be unsubstantiated. They ran their entire content through AI, and that at that point in time it was actually they were using our tool to do that. Moved all these claims and then repurposed the content without the claims. Yeah, because there are ways of saying things without making a claim. You can still showcase features and benefits of product without making like a direct green or sustainability claim, so eco claim. So that's kind of what they did. The alternatives is you kind of rewrite the content like with a like verifiable fact. So if you do hold like verified information about product sustainability claims, for example, you might hold material information about a product, like 93% recycled aluminium or materials or something. That is definitely better than just saying eco-friendly, because eco-friendly is like a very broad claim, right? So yeah, it's really like the way you do cite claims, you have to ensure you've got the evidence, basically. So that's kind of how you retrospectively deal with all that. It's a big task, right? I mean, you use lots of AI to do it, speeds it up massively, but it's still a big task. And then the last thing is then making sure that you don't make these claims in the future without verified baselines. So that's about process. That's like gating content enrichment based on these these directives, and making sure that so another thing I kind of thought about was like a lot of companies will be just continuously writing descriptions with AI, and they won't have trained their AI models to not use these words.
That's so true. Yeah.
You're like chasing your tail constantly, having to then retrain the tone of voice guidelines or stuff in the models you're using to actually generate the content in the first place. So you have to put governance. I mean, it always comes back to governance, doesn't it, Claire? Product data.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
having the information and then controlling the information. Funny that, yeah.
Don't get the data right upstream.
Yeah.
Don't make unverified claims. Sort out your content production processes around trusted, verifiable sources. And then you won't have to do a retrofit of your content every 6 months.
Exactly.
And like the guys we work with had like thousands and thousands of products, right? Titles and descriptions, SEO content. It wasn't just like one description per product.
I mean they were a high street retailer, so they're very very visible. So
yeah.
Cool. And look, this is going to be the start of, there's two other kind of compliance regulation things that are coming up that are slightly different, but the same, guess what? The same string, that product data is the one thing that can kind of help with these. So this is the first of a 3-part series, this one. Tune in for the next couple of weeks to learn about the others. And as always, thank you, Ben. And if you want any more kind of practical tips or tricks on product data operations, you can also sign up to our productdataweekly.com newsletter that comes out every Thursday. We shall see you next week. Take care.
Ciao for now.
Bye.